everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Like I rightly said, welcome, 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 welcome. We have a special guest with us, but before we bring him on board, I'd like to just say what we're all about, what we do here. Money Matters Live is a movement where we talk about financial discipline, financial literacy, financial planning, everything to do with money, from savings, investment vehicles, where we can put our money, where our money can be working for us passively while we're sleeping or actively, whichever one we want to use. Businesses we can do in the 21st century, businesses, services, and products that we have. How do we get our products and services to the people who need them? Sometimes, people have great products, and yeah, yes, the product in Maryland and somebody in Georgia State probably needed those products. But how do you get your products to the people who need them? So you must find out who are the people that need my products. How do I get to them and try to reach out to them? So those are the things we do here, and we bring people who have a wealth of experience, who have tried different things, who are success in the things they do, to share their story, their experience, how they started. And just like I often said, I said mentorship cannot be overemphasized. You want to meet with someone who has done a particular business you want to do, so that the person can mentor you, hold your hands, take you through, so that you don't have to repeat or reinvent the wheel. And so today we have our guest, and like I rightly said, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is San Uko, and just I am an IT sales expert of over 20 years, a member of the Toastmasters as the Vice President, Public Relations, and a best-selling author. I also just recently got gifted the Presidential Lifetime Award. And so I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to bring our guest. His name is Fowowe, where he will be telling us about himself, what he's up to doing, and what we can do in order to build an empowered and a great community, knowing that when we have a great community, then we can have an empowered nation. Because once we understand what is the gap that we need to fill to ensure that we do not have a dysfunctional community, we have a functional community in order to build a great nation, then we can close that gap and become that great nation we want to be. So let's join me to welcome Praise for Well. Hello, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to be here with you.
Thank you so much, sir. And we'd like to know you. We'd like to know what you're doing. And I know that you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot in the family circle. That has to do with teenagers. Everything has to do with family, just the complete family. So, and that's one of the reasons that informed me in building. In order for us to have an empowered nation, we must have a functional home, a
Yeah.
functional life, a functional home. So the floor is all yours, sir.
Okay. My name is Praise for Well. I've been rightly mentioned. I work as a family life strategist. Basically, what I do is I assist people build systems and strategies that can help their family enjoy their wellness and wholesomeness. So I work across board from singleness to parenting to marriage to divorce and to raising your kids effectively, whatever it is that concerns family. That's what I do. I have certification programs that people take who wants to work in the family life space as family system engineering coaches, which is a model I pioneered a couple of years ago. And yes, I believe in community building, and I believe that the future of our world is in the family. If we get it right, then we can make the world happy.
Awesome. Great to have you, sir.
Yeah.
Great to have you. The floor is all yours because we want you, you're taking us in a class, teaching us now. What are the things we need to do as a person, as an individual, as a family, in order to have a functional, personal person? It starts, they said the family unit starts with one person.
Mhm.
It starts with the father, the mother, and the children. Then goes to a community of people coming together. So can you help us in marshalling that in order for us to have a functional community? Where does it start from? How do we go around it? How do we now build this community, the individuals themselves, to be functional? Because a community is not an entity, it is formed by the people.
Yeah.
So we want to learn from you.
Okay, thank you very much. I must say that the first thing people need to understand is that you are at the mercy of the handlers in your life. So I'll take this way. When you were born, nobody asked for your permission before they gave you a name. Nobody asked you for your permission before they sent you to the first set of schools they sent you to. Your parents did not consult you before or they did not even do enough research to figure out the worldview of the teachers you were exposed to and the children who sat beside you. Then they did not consult you before they slammed the religion on you. They did not consult you before they chose the places they lived and the places where they rented their houses. So you would realize that within the first 7 years of your life, which are your formative years, your destiny was already sealed without your permission. And so
True.
a whole lot of us had lost touch with ourselves. And so you took on the anger pattern of your parents. You get angry the same way they get angry. You communicated the way they communicated. You were literally living a life that is not an idea of yours, but an idea of your parents. Now, you need to understand that within the journey of the human mind, there are 4 levels. The
Yes, sir.
first level is called the level of domestication. At the level of domestication, that's where 80% of the people who live on this planet are, is the world around us. In the domestication level, you are bound by rules and regulation. You are bound by what the society accepts and what they reject. What your parents said is right, what your parents said is wrong. What religion said is right, what religion said is wrong. What the law of the nation says right, what the law of the nation says wrong. Majority of the people are in that category, and that's why they're called masses. They are bound by the rules of other people. Level 2 is the level called awareness. At the level of awareness, you begin to set goals for yourself. What can take you from level 1 to level 2 is goal setting. To say, I deserve a better life. I believe I can move to this next level. I believe I shouldn't stay where I was born. I believe I can move from the low class to the upper class. Now, the problem is when you begin to aspire to go to level 2, you are asking a lot of questions. Now, because you are asking a lot of questions, the people who are level 2 are your current leaders. They begin to call you a rebel. They begin to try to sabotage you. They begin to make you feel, you are too you are too forthright. Why you, in a hurry. It would sound as if they mean well for you, but the goal is they know that once you come to level 2, you break free from their hold. Now, level 2 is where many leaders are in this world. But level 2 is not where everybody should be. There is also level 3. And level 3 is called recreation. That's the world you can choose. At the level of level 3, you are living from within to without. What takes you to level 3 is meditation, because then with meditation you can catch a number of revelation about who you are. In fact, level 3 is where a large number of people begin to discover who they truly are. Because at level 3, you're not bound by the hell around you. So the whole world can be in crisis and you see opportunities because you're living from within to without. Until you get to level 3, you cannot begin to experience a level of fulfillment and a level of satisfaction. But level 3 is not where it ends. There's the level 4, which is the level of invasion. At that level, you are like God's project manager. You are solving problems for nations. You have moved beyond your personal need to feed, to live in a house, to drive a car. You are now solving problems by stopping polio in Nigeria or stopping malaria in Kenya or doing all these kind of things. Now, when a human being is not truly happy, then there is no way we can morph into building a happy family. And that is why I always say that when it comes to marriage, marriage is the coming together of a man and a woman from 2 different nations. Wherever I use nation, think families, to create a new nation that will promote the best interest of all and whose culture will give our world rest. So it means that there is nothing called a bad marriage. Everything they call bad marriage is simply a dysfunctional person from a dysfunctional family bringing dysfunctionality into the life of another person. And so you find a situation where that definition says is the coming together of a man and a woman from 2 different nations. So you have a family where everyone is free to become who they want to be. You have another person coming to meet that person who is going to marry her from a family where everyone is at the mercy of what daddy says. So you have a third world person coming to marry a first world person. Chaos is going to erupt because they have different worldview. And once they have a different worldview, what happens is the children see the friction and the children begin to think that family is not right, there's dysfunctionality, and they warehouse the trauma of their parents. And that is why what everyone listening to me first needs to do is to first ask yourself, are you real, or the you that you are living right now is a pseudo you? Because I know from my practice that many of my clients they never really manifest their life because the real person has been sacrificed or compromised many years ago. Now, there are three levels you go through. You have your upbringing, you have your environment, and the significant emotional experience, which is what makes you. So, in the engineering of your life, you realize that there's been a lot of compromise. So, the first thing you want to do is to first go back, because the way forward is actually the way backward. To say, can you meet five people that knew you before the age of 5? To say, what can they remember about you? What was it that was striking about you before age 5? Can you meet another 5 that knew you between ages 6 to 10? Another one that knew you between 11 to 16, 17 to 22, 23 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to whatever age you're in right now. If you put together everything they've said about you, you will begin to see the missing link. You begin to see what is consistent about you. And then you will begin to see the need for you to self-heal, because with trauma in your life, there's a limit to how far you can go. And then, because when there is trauma in your life, once you don't manifest your authentic self, what begins to happen is you begin to become jealous of other people because you can't accept yourself. You talk them down because you can't accept yourself. You think your bigness is going to be dependent on their smallness. So you cannot stand the strength of other people because they must perpetually remain small for you to be big. So when they try to come to your level, you're trying to bully them, you're trying to pull them down because they must carry your back for the rest of your life. So you need to understand that no society can be strong when there are weak people, right? A society is as strong as the strength of the people that make up that society. And that is why the first thing you want to do is to self-heal. And in the journey of self-healing, you want to look at the trauma point that exist in your life. And you want to have a conversation with a younger you to say, who hurts you? What hurts you, right? What was the impact of the hurt on you? And the person that hurts you, who ought him to hurt you? Because hurting people hurt others. Everyone you think are your enemies, they were also victim of some trauma in their lives, and that's why they pass trauma into your life. Because if they don't have wholesomeness, they can't give you wholesomeness. You assume they can give you wholesomeness, you were just a victim of what they passed to you. But they also have a history, and that's why you must learn to forgive. Because if you stretch the history, you realize that somewhere down the line, they were also hurt. And so when we come to that place where healing takes place, we now need to begin to embrace the systems that can make any society work or any community work. And the first thing we want to see, if we have awesomeness, it's not enough. Because in a football game, the quality of players is level 1. Level 2 is the ability of the quality of players to blend into a team. Number 3 is the capacity to understand tactical rules and regulation, which is called the rules of engagement. Now, within the framework of strategy, there are 3 things. You have the end game, which is the outcome we want. You have 2, which is the internal capacity, that are we able to produce this end game? And number 3, you have the operating environment, which is the rules of engagement. Now, so when we come together, having become very awesome, there are systems we want to pay attention to. Number 1, you want to have a governance system, which is where it starts from. Within the framework of the governance system, you are going to ask the question, what is our vision? Because where there's no vision, the people perish. And if we don't have a mutual vision, everyone will have their version of the vision, which leads to a division. And in creating a community vision, you are looking at 5 parameters, right? To say, number 1, who are we? Right? Which is our identity maxim. Number 2, what is the quality of our identity? Right? Which is the identity qualifier. Number 3 is the unique selling proposition. What is it that stands us out from every other community? And number 4, if 1, 2, 3 comes to pass, who is the primary beneficiary of who we have become? And number 5, who is the ultimate beneficiary of who we have become? Those are the ways you set up create a community vision. Once you're done with that, you now want to create your values. To say it's not enough to have a vision, there is who we must become for the vision to become a reality. So we have to create our values. For example, India says that they want to light up the rest of the world, right? They will provide illumination for the world. That's the vision, right? India has a concept called fraternity, and that's why you see them collaborate, right? And so we need to create our vision, we need to create our values, and then in creating values, there are parameters to follow, but then create a mutual values. Once 1 and 2 are created, your values must become what we call a DNA creed. A DNA creed is a believable statement that encapsulates our values and that can govern human behavior. For example, I have a community. We have the values in the community are worship, influence, love, responsibility, and trustworthiness. And so based on those 5, there's a DNA creed that says I'm a symbol of trust and I'm trustworthy. Whatever goes out of me must pass the test of worship unto God. I influence myself with superior lifestyle and values everywhere I go. I take responsibility for whatever happens to me around me. I am loved. Heaven is what you experience when you encounter me. Now, that is the encapsulation of your vision into a DNA grid. When you're done with that, you now need to create what we call the legends of your community. Now, without a sense of history, no community can stand. And that's why when you read the Bible, you hear about the God of Isaac and Jacob. Is a communication, is a legend that says, we know about this God that did this for Abraham, that did it for Isaac, that did it for Jacob. Now, that is the nation Israel. They know what that means. The problem with many of us, especially those of us who are Africans, is that our history is either not correct or not curated. And so I often say to people that you can't create an effective community when you don't know the superpower that exists in your lineage. So we need to go back and take a step back and say, who were we as a people? There is a temptation to look at us and feel, oh, the black race, there is nothing about them. But it's not true. If you are a student of history, 1300 to 1700, there was a kingdom called Benin Kingdom in Nigeria. In Benin Kingdom, there was a semblance of street lights before New York, before London, before Berlin. The Benin people created bronze, and all kinds of artifacts that the whites stole. Basically, you need to know that story is correct, right? In the Benin Kingdom, they created a wall that was regarded as the best architectural design that's ever been done. Now, what brain, what intelligence did they use to create all of these things? So that's to say to you that in creating your entire history, you need to curate the fact that your forefathers were powerful, and so the DNA that exists in you and running your blood vein is not, a normal DNA, is an incredible DNA. I'm partly from Benin. And so when I'm introducing myself to people, I introduce myself as the descendant of the ancestry that built the first smart city in the world. There is what your heritage does to you. And that is why we want to curate our stories in a way that it speaks to our identity. Now, having done all those things, you are now going to create activities that will drive the community to say, what must we celebrate? What must we say no to? What must we eat? What must our color be? What must we reject? What will be our culture? What will be our norms? And what will be all these things? When you put all these things together, you now put checks and balances together to say, who will we defer to? What are the lines of leadership? How well do they produce? How do we create checks and balances? Now, those are the frameworks to creating a community that works. But you need to understand that at the base of every community is an agenda. You need to be clear about your agenda. For example, you can create a community in America. People say, oh, a lot of people never retire because you have accumulated a lot of debt that you have to pay for the rest of your life. You can create a community. I mean, we have a community like that we just started that says, you know what, we want to plan for our retirement outside 401k, right? And so our retirement plan is going to be real estate. So let's come together. We're going to put funds together, as a group, and we'll sort our future every month, for the next 10 years, thereabout. That's a community. That's an agenda. That's an ideology in there, right? And then there are members of the community. How you join, you can't just train, because once the entry system is porous, people are going to destroy the community. And so you need to put the framework and the rules and regulations together. One thing I want everyone to understand is that the world we live in right now and the future of our world is the era of tribes and teams, which means it's the era of community, right? And so it's not enough for you to just believe that I belong to a community or I belong to a tribe. No, how has your tribe served you? So when I ask people, what's your tribe? They tell me, I'm Yoruba, I'm Igbo. I said, what does that mean really? And then they tell me, it means I speak this language, I eat this kind of meal. And I ask them, if they kidnap you today, will your tribe go to war? They'll have to rescue you. Then they start looking at me, right? And so that is it. It means you can't measure the benefit of your tribe. And so you are just a tribe as an adjective convenient. There is really nothing you are benefiting, because if you belong to a community, you must have benefits. To say, by belonging to this community, I know I'm never going to be poor again. By belonging to this community, I know if anything happens to me, everybody's going to stand up for me. I know my children will not suffer should I drop dead. But people belong to communities that they don't even understand the operational system of the community. And at the end of the day, they feel cheated, because even though when they were starting the community, they thought it was a us community. Meanwhile, the founder knows that it was him recruiting people to come and serve his cause and fund his cause, and then he leaves them hanging. And that is why people need to begin to ask the right question. And for those people who are constituting communities, we need to know that communities cannot be about you. it must be about everyone. My father used to say that a poor man in the midst of six rich, I mean, a rich man in the midst of six poor people is the seventh poor man
Yes,
in disguise.
true.
So we need to know that a candle loses nothing by lighting other candles. So
Not
enough
at all.
of using people to achieve your aim. What about empowering everyone so that everyone can become very strong? Because if everyone has become strong, then there is a whole lot we can do together. Because a community of strong people can take on another community of strong people and win and actually take them over. So basically, these are the things we need to know. But it starts with wholesomeness. That we need to audit ourselves and we need to go on this dark journey of healing, that journey of self-development. And when we are all strong, we can come together and say, you know what, let us create an agenda that can serve the best interest of all of us. I hope this has been helpful. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. This has been great, great for me. It's been great. It's been great. That's awesome. I want to thank you, sir, because you have done great justice to the this topic and in building a great community, a functional community. It starts with the individual, and you said a lot, starting from when the child is between 0 to 7, where the formative age is being formed. You don't have a control. You just meet yourself and you accept it, and then you don't have a control, and it continues. You went ahead to say a lot of things, having a community, understanding what that community stands for and represents, which is a lot that people need to go back again to check the community where you belong. What are you doing there, and what impacts are you getting? What is that community standing in for? When it said that when the purpose of the thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. When we know the purpose of the thing, when we are awesome, when we are self-aware, then we're able to give out stuff. Like you rightly said, hurting people hurt people. Yes, that's true, because one odd person wants you to suffer the same thing they have suffered in time past. It's only a person who is wholesome, a person who is self-aware, that was okay. Yes, I have gone through some difficult moments, but it doesn't mean that everyone that comes around me must also suffer the same thing I suffer. But such a person wants to be a blessing. I have a lady like that. She said growing up for her was difficult. One testimony she has negative people around her. She almost committed suicide. And today she's over 72. She said that's because she got pregnant at age 15. So everyone around her was very dysfunctional. They were very abusive. The words they said to her were really, really killing. But one thing she promised herself was that she was not going to hurt any other person because she has been hurt. Every time I speak with her, she would always tell you the kind of family she came from. But that inspired me that for such a person who has been hurt, making up her mind to say that she's not going to hurt any other person, it takes the heart of God to say you don't want to hurt someone else. And she said that was because she had a fear for God, and she was also praying. But that was one thing that kept her. And today she's 72. The baby she
Wow.
was thinking of, if she had taken her life, that baby wouldn't have been there. And just recently she told me the baby is about 57. And that same baby had given her two grandchildren.
Mm,
She's never been married for life. Ever since she had that baby, never been married. And she's
mm,
72 today.
mm,
So when I share some things with her, she'll say, Sandra, you know that I've never been married. So I
mm,
don't know what it entails when I see married couples do some things. So I
mm.
just watch and hear what people say and what people do. So I appreciate those words from you, knowing that, in order for us to build a functional community, an empowered nation, we need to know ourselves. We need to be whole. And if there's something wrong, we need to, go back to our drawing board. We need to find out what help would help us. And I think the word of God is the only thing that we have that we can run to. When you seem to have a dysfunction or something is going on wrong, you need to find yourself. It is in finding yourself that you can, find purpose. So, and this has been mind blowing for me. I don't say much. You said it all, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate your time. I also want to thank our audience who are here presently and those who will stumble across this video. Let's go out there and share this video, because there's a lot that we need to share. If we share one good thing to others, they're also blessed, and the nation in itself will be a blessing. So, and we live in a better community rather than just holding information and hoarding it from others. Let's go out there to be a difference maker. Let's go out there to share great information that will be a blessing to others. Thank you so much, sir.
God
Do
bless
have a
you.
blessed and a restful evening. Thank you, sir.
Are you thinking of how to publish your book on Amazon or how to get your published book to become an Amazon bestseller book? Dip Insight Books is the perfect in-between solution in transforming your ideas into a book. We can help you with all the complicated parts of publishing, such as process TO transformation. What we do: full manuscript evaluation, receive quality assurance edit, full copy edit and final proofread to remove spelling and grammar mistakes, oversee your cover design, create your interior layout, publish and distribute your book, lock down your marketing strategy. Ghostwriting, where there is no manuscript. Our goal is to help you publish your book promptly. Contact us today at 404-740-9091. Email us at info@dipinsightworld.com. To start the submission process, check us out at www.books.dipinsightworld.com and submit your details. You can visit our Facebook page at Dip Insight World.
If you've made it this far into this video, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe so you can support your girl. Thank you.